Welcome to TWitWoW, the best podcast on the internet today. I'm John. That's my cohort and commentary, Ashton, and this is the TWitWoW weekly recap. Let's dive right into it. You guys know it's pro wrestling, politics, pop culture. In pro wrestling, let's not bury the lead. Cody Rhodes, for a third time, is WWE champion, which means it will be Cody Rhodes versus Randy Orton at WrestleMania, one of the two nights in Las Vegas. Nobody's surprised by this. I think all of us in our Discord, in the TwitWow Discord, called it the moment Nick Aldis announced it on the Elimination Chamber post show. And yeah, it's happened. So, also, because I saw the final few minutes of the match, it also laid the groundwork for presumably Drew versus Jacob at WrestleMania because Drew brought in a steel chair to use against Cody. Jacob pulled it out of his hands. Drew got frustrated, hit a Future Shock DDT when Cody first tried to capitalize, measured for a Claymore, missed the Claymore, top rope Cody cutter, crossroads, 3 count, blah, 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 blah. So, we have Drew versus Jacob and Cody versus Orton on the SmackDown side. I gotta tell you, man, and I think I've said this before, but I'm just reiterating, so far, the card that we can make educated assumptions about, and plus what's already been announced, I'm really not hyped for any of it. Like, if we were still doing TWiWoW the way that we used to do TWiWoW, I would honestly be telling you, like, I'm low-key, like, think we should just skip this Mania, because I know that it's been rumored that Io versus Asuka might happen. I think you've even potentially floated that, because Kairi just continues to be maltreated by Asuka. That would get me out of bed, and I think there was one other match that I've been thinking about. I know Brock Lesnar's doing an open challenge. That could be fun if it was Oba, but even then, fuck Brock Lesnar, with all the Janelle Grant and all that stuff coming out, you know. So yeah, this Mania, I'm really not feeling it. But yeah, Cody is once again WWE champion. That's the big thing. Do you have any thoughts on this? Because I know we've talked about Cody to death, but I always like fielding it to you just in case. Hello.
I am so sorry. I had my mic muted and I didn't even realize it. Are we good now?
Yes, yes. So you heard
Okay.
everything I said, though, right? Do you need
Yes,
me to
yes,
reiterate
yes.
anything?
I was
Okay.
answering you, but my mic was up, so no one could hear me. So anyway, yeah. The Cody Orton thing is something that's been getting built to. Really, I shouldn't even say built to. It's been something that fans have wanted for literally since the moment Cody stepped back into WWE and started getting treated like a main eventer. People have been calling for Cody versus Orton to be a main event of a major pay-per-view. I think there was even a SummerSlam relatively recently, one of the last couple SummerSlams that people thought Orton Cody was going to main event. Obviously, that didn't happen, but now they're main eventing WrestleMania, probably night one, because I can't imagine that they're going to be prioritized over Roman Punk. Then again, you never know. Maybe they will. I don't know. But that's a match for a certain subsect of fans that does not include us. The match that came out of all this that is for us is Jacob versus Drew. That's gonna slap.
Be a fun one. I think that of what we know is the best match on Mania that we can again make an educated assumption is going to happen. The other match I was thinking of, that's right. I had blanked earlier. I'm glad I fielded it to you to give me time. Trick versus Sammy. If Trick versus Sammy happens at Mania, that's another match I would genuinely look forward to because Trick has been absolutely fire with his heel SmackDown persona. I know he ate an RKO apparently on Friday. I didn't watch
Dude,
that clip.
he
Yeah,
interrupted Orton's opening promo because Orton opened SmackDown to basically just, vibe with the crowd and celebrate his win of the Elimination Chamber, and then he's going to be main eventing Mania.
yeah.
Trick, Trick interrupted him. He got a good solid, like, probably between 5 and 10 minutes to talk to the crowd. But then Trick came out and, dude, the reception for Trick was deafening. He is so fucking over.
Yeah.
Oh my god. And Trick cut his promo, and his promo game has gotten so much better since his heel turn in NXT. It's unbelievable. And my god, this was like he's so natural on the mic now. He really does remind me of Dwayne a lot. Like when Dwayne was like the heel leader of um I forget the name of the faction.
Nation of
Thank
Domination.
you. Yes, when he was the heel leader of Nation Domination and he started really feeling himself on the mic, That's the place Trick is in right now. Maybe even a little further along than that, honestly, because Trick comes out and he's feeling himself and he starts talking his shit. He mentions that Randy looked him in the eye at the Elimination Chamber and said, "Man, you ain't 6'5". And Randy starts turning around trying to get Trick to stand back to back so they can measure heights to each other. And Trick starts talking his shit in the ring, and Orton doesn't even give him a chance. He just RKO's his ass. It was so good though because Trick is just so over right now. The whoop that Trick chants from the crowd are so loud. It is amazing how quickly that dude has gotten over.
Bro, I'm telling you, now this is fantasy booking. I want to be emphatic. This is me doing conjecture. This is fantasy booking. If I really wanted to just swing my nuts around, right, and flex my shit as a booker, I think SummerSlam you could have two Titan World title matchups because it's not really clear what brand Oba's going to end up on because he's still appearing on both Raw and SmackDown. You have Oba on Raw challenging for the world title, presumably against either Roman Reigns or a Gunther if you would work it in that time because August is still a good ways away. And you do Trick either versus Randy or versus Cody for the WWE Championship on the SmackDown side. Because those two guys, I am telling you, are some
Yeah,
of the coolest guys.
I know
Yeah,
that
what
we
were you
don't
saying?
really cover WrestleMania or any WWE PLEs anymore, so I don't feel ashamed about making an early preview prediction type call. I absolutely think Cody's retaining at Mania because he just won the title. They're not going to have him lose it after a month.
And the only, see, I'm going to agree with you, but I just want to put this qualifier in there because, like you said, we don't really do this anymore, so this is kind of the space to do it. The only way I could see it is if it would be a repeat of last year, except with Orton, where, like, I know Cena turned heel at the Chamber, but, like, Orton turning heel at Mania and doing heelish shit to win. Maybe even bringing back the punt, which we haven't seen in a good bit, to win the title. That's it. Other than that, I do agree with you. I do agree with you.
It,
But yeah,
it
dude,
feels like the
yeah.
WWE is building up a lot of Mania matches that feel like they could have double turns. Like Punk Roman feels very double turny. It feels like Punk is being an asshole on purpose, like he's going to turn heel either on the road to or at Mania. And like Cody Orton feels like we could have a double turn there with Cody cheating to win, maybe. And like we've already talked about Sammy Trick feeling like it's ripe for a double turn with Trick going face and Sammy being the heel in that match. Like it's weird how many matches are being kind of built towards WrestleMania that feel ripe for double turns, or at least like really big important heel turns, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. But I'm telling you, man, just going back to what I was saying a few moments ago, like, I think SummerSlam could be huge this year if you play your cards right
Dude,
in the world
it's
title
funny that you
scene.
mentioned Gunther potentially be world champ because the there was a whole thing the other day where like everyone was like arguing like who's going to be Brock's Mania opponent, and people that were representatives, quote unquote, of Brock Lesnar said, "No, we're going to hold off till SummerSlam, and then we're going to ride off into the sunset." So basically, the implication being the internet thinks that Brock Gunther is going to be at SummerSlam for Brock's career.
I could see that. I could see that. I mean, you do that, and again, I know it's unlikely in my mind that both those guys, Oba and Trick, would be in respective world title pictures. Because again, Oba could very well end up on SmackDown with Trick, and then all of a sudden that's out
I'm
of the window anyway.
Dude, the
But
way that they've
like,
been doing the slow build with Oba, I genuinely think they are going to do with him on main roster what they did with him on NXT and put a mid card title on him first and have him make it feel like a world title before having someone beat him for it and have him move on to an actual world title maybe next year at Mania.
you know what? I think that's a very sensible position to take. With Trick, though, I'll tell you, they've taken the opposite route seemingly, and to great effect, because his pops have been insane. I'm not discounting. I think between the two of them, I would keep money on Trick challenging for a world title at SummerSlam. I am not ruling that out. I am not ruling that out until I see it for myself, because his reactions have been insane. And really, here's the thing. I would love, and again, pure fantasy booking, I can't be emphatic about that enough, if Trick would win a world title at SummerSlam, but then Sammy cashes in on him because Sammy won Money in the Bank a few months prior.
Mm-hmm.
I like because I see a lot of money in that feud too. Because I'm really enjoying like how opposite they are in Sammy's like struggle, which I didn't see any YouTube clips uploaded about that from SmackDown. So I'm curious if that had any forward movement. But yeah, man, just all this to say, I know I took us pretty far away because we were talking about Randy Orton's opening promo and Trick interrupting it.
Yeah.
But Trick is fire right now, man. Like you really got to strike while that fire is hot. So we're gonna have to see how they do it. But But yeah, you said his mic skills have gotten so much better since NXT, which is wonderful to hear. Wonderful to hear because if his mic skills have gotten that much better, he's secured the damn bag, and that's wonderful to see. So, did you see anything else? Because the only other thing I saw from SmackDown was Oba laying out Johnny Gargano and beating him in like an impromptu matchup because Johnny was kind of running his mouth, saying, "Oh, Candace is right. I need to be Johnny wrestling again." And yeah, he wasn't even in his ring gear. And then Oba comes out. Johnny makes a great reaction face to Johnny's credit, really selling the threat that Oba is. And Oba just very easily dismantles Gargano.
It's kind of
Yeah.
amazing how the Johnny Gargano Tommaso Ciampa sort of relationship is one of the best sort of, I guess, indicators. I don't know, like it's a display of the cream rising to the top because like Champa had that amazing heel run in NXT, but never bothered to adapt at all, never changed, never did anything different, just always stayed. Like he's been the same character since Ring of Honor. Meanwhile, Johnny consistently adapts. He finds ways to make himself entertaining, whether it is as the babyface scrappy underdog foil to Champa's top heel guy, or whether it is a snarky heel with the way that was brilliant, or the tag team with Champa as DIY doing their shit, being kind of backstage pricks in the SmackDown tag division. And now this sad Johnny gimmick is over with me, brother. I'm popping every time he's laying flat on his face doing shit.
See, I really wonder how it's going to be resolved. And I agree with you. It's the most intrigued I've been with him in probably a few years. Feels like forever. Because I expected and I need to be Johnny wrestling again promo. I didn't expect it so soon though, and then for that to be like the resolution where it's kind of farted on via
Yeah.
Oba Femi's dominance, right? So I really do have to wonder about the resolution of this because I thought it was going to be Johnny being Johnny wrestling again in a babyface form, and that still might be on the table. But yeah, that was a unique twist. I didn't expect it to just be immediately crapped on, courtesy of the ruler Oba Femi. Um, I gotta be honest, man. As far as SmackDown goes, I really didn't watch anything else from it. I know your mom usually keeps her finger on the pulse of the product, which means you kind of absorb it through what is it, osmosis. So, is there anything else you would like to report on from
Um,
SmackDown?
did you catch the Rhea Ripley Jade Cargill interaction at all?
No, I did not watch that.
Okay, so Jade. So this was really awkward for me because these are two women, and the entire promo was about their bodies. Like Jade,
Yeah.
Jade starts talking about like Rhea's body being very like objectifying about her muscles, basically talking about how like you might have big arms, but mine's are bigger. You might have strong legs, but mine are stronger. Like basically talking about how like Rhea Ripley is a known powerhouse, but if you actually look at Jade Cargill, you can clearly see that she is in far more like more bodybuilder-y shape than Rhea. And then
Yes.
Rhea responded with, "Yeah, you're right. Your arms are bigger than mine. Your shoulders are bigger. Your legs, whatever. But your body is built for show. My body is built for fighting." And like it was a really well thought out promo from Rhea's perspective. But then she did this weird thing where like how Jade likes to finish her promos with "There ain't nothing you can do about it," and that's because I'm that bitch.
Yeah.
Rhea just quoted that back at her, and it felt really awkward coming from Rhea to me. But the rest of Rhea's promo was really good, and I don't want to let the awkward landing sully how quality the rest of it was.
Yeah. I mean, again, you and I have talked just personally during our downtime and our game time. And I've roped your mom in these conversations because she adores Rhea. She adores Rhea so much that I really do think this is probably going to be Jade Cargill's best WrestleMania match,
Dude,
just because she's working with somebody that has gotten great matches out of Charlotte Flair of all people.
yeah.
So
And
yeah,
and can
but you
I
were going to
also
say
just
something, man.
say,
Yeah,
if this feud is going to be about who's stronger and who has the more impressive sculpted body, can we please do some Triple H Scott Steiner Royal Rumble '03 shit with this? Can we do like some like bodybuilding pose off shit and like fucking arm wrestling shit with these women, please? Like this is the type of stuff that you can use to build a feud that doesn't really feel personal otherwise.
Yeah, I mean, not every feud needs to be Shakespeare, right?
You
Like,
like,
I
and
actually,
honestly,
yeah.
this is the type of camp that's really missing in wrestling right now. You insist on trotting out Danhausen and calling that funny and comedy, but no, that's just like cringe as far as I'm concerned. Give me Rhea Ripley and Jade Cargill arm wrestling, and this idea that like Jade's muscles are built for show and Rhea has muscles that are built for like actually being used and like efficiency or whatever. And you have them do an arm wrestling match and it looks like Rhea's gonna win, and then Jade like pulls back and she's like, no, 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 I wasn't ready, and then they have to restart, and then like it looks like Rhea's gonna win again. Jade like punches her in the face or something. Like, get someone fucking over here rather than just trying them out there and having them talk shit to each other. Can we please
And
have some fucking creative in the creative team, please?
And I would funnel that into like the first 3 minutes of the match where maybe they first do a lockup and Rhea like
Yes,
shoves Jade
the
and then they
test
do
of
a lockup again and then
power. You
Jade
could do the
shoves
bend over
Rhea.
thing like they did between Hogan and Warrior. Neither one of those guys could move, and these women can.
Yeah, they absolutely need to do a Greco-Roman knuckle lock spot for sure. Like, do all of it. Because here's the
Mm-hmm.
thing. Jade Cargill, and I'm not trying to be insulting. We're having a conversation. I just say that because I know I'm about to sound like an asshole. Jade Cargill doesn't really have the kind of tank where you expect even like a 15-minute match in my mind. I expect this to go
Dude,
maybe a little over 10. I don't
but the
expect
thing
this to
is,
go
you
that long
could get
personally.
a good 10-minute match out of Jade with the right story, and if you take it
Yeah,
slow and if you let it develop and build into a good climax.
yeah. Because I really don't think, I know this is just my opinion, maybe if I have the stomach to watch the Mania match, because again, I've been saying that this show by and large looks like a skip to me so far. Maybe she'd prove me wrong, but I don't think she can really go beyond first gear. Obviously, we know Rhea can, which is going to be a huge benefit to Jade, in my opinion. But yeah, I mean, even if you did like an 8 to 10 minute match, if you just do the test of strength, this and that, whatever, and then I mean, this would almost be a match where maybe you could even get away with it trying to be a finisher fest, like Rhea trying to hit the Riptide and Jade trying to hit Jaded. I'm really curious the kind of match they're going to put together. But I do agree with you on the build up to the match. I think that kind of camp works. I think it's different. Again, really, it would be similar, I'll tell you what, to when Bayley feuded with Bianca, who I miss
Yes.
desperately.
Can these women
You
please
know,
lift Otis?
yeah, exactly. Like you're doing lifting Otis and you're doing basketball. I actually didn't realize because I swear to you I was tabbed out on the Discord, but I saw that Foster even mentioned I need someone to lift Otis like Bianca did.
Yeah.
And yeah, like that whole feud. I mean, there was great stuff there.
Yeah.
There was really great stuff there. And yeah, I think it made both women better in the long run. I mean, it primed Bianca to win the women's championship later that year. So, really, and here's the thing. I mean, Jade obviously is already the champion, but it would be a great way to really solidify her title reign because everybody's like, she's not defending the title. She's not defending the title. Well, now she's defending it, and because I don't expect Rhea to win, she beats Rhea Ripley. So, yeah, we've got options here. We've definitely got options here.
Dude,
Anything
Jade
else from Smack?
Jade
Yeah.
Cargill is like barely functional as a pro wrestler, but she is just the absolute like min max because her promo skills are like a 3 out of 10. Her in ring is like a 3 or a 4 out of 10. She really doesn't have any of the qualities you actually look for in somebody that's good at pro wrestling, but like she has a 10 out of 10 look, maybe even an 11 out of 10 look, honestly, because she literally looks like she's like straight off of the page of a comic book. And then
Yeah.
she is mastered the art of aura farming. She is the queen of aura
Yeah.
farming.
Definitely. I will say something else I remember from SmackDown. We know that Priest and Truth are actually going to be challenging the MFTs for the
Oh
tag
yeah,
titles.
that's right.
I
They
have,
won a gauntlet where they only had to wrestle one match.
yeah, I don't really mind this. I mean, look, Angel and Umberto, I think the world of those guys. I honestly, if we did a draft, I would have drafted them to Raw, repackage them as like a babyface team, and put the tag titles on them already. I don't even know. I guess they're just there. I guess they're just the good hands when WWE wants to pad out a tag team match. But I don't have a problem with this. I like Priest. I think he's a solid worker. We know he's working a reduced schedule right now. So I think in light of that, this isn't really beneath him or anything because I know some people may be like, but he was a former world champion. He's working a reduced schedule. He liked working with Truth. He apparently said that in an interview with Chris Van Vliet recently. Like he wanted to do more with Truth because he just feels the chemistry is there. And he's been around forever, Ron. So
And you know what? I
fucking
really like this on multiple levels because these guys have
yeah,
been really buddy buddy backstage for a while. Truth was kind of like before the Ron Cena stuff really got big. He was having a lot of backstage interactions with Aleister Black, and Black was really like bullying him, and Priest was always the one that would come to defend him. So that's a really cool thing. Plus, it's like a 180 from when Priest was the only one in the Judgment Day that didn't not want him in Judgment Day.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Even though Truth made them like thousands of dollars selling merch.
Yeah, Truth made them bank.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like this. I don't expect them to win because I think it's gonna come back to I already forget the name, the Wyatt Six. I think ultimately it's gonna go back to the Wyatt Six. Maybe there will be a multi-person schmoz at Mania. I don't know,
They
but
love
for the
doing
time
those.
being, yeah, they're it's fine. It's fine.
It's
Anything else on?
fine.
Yeah, anything else on your end from SmackDown?
Did you see the fucking the women's tag schmoz segment?
No, I did not.
Oh God. Well, it was supposed to be a celebration for Nia and Lash because they just won the titles, but of course, Charlotte can never allow these things to just be. So she and Alexa come out and talk their shit, and then Kiana and Julia come out and talk their shit, and then Nick Aldis comes out and sets up Charlotte and Bliss versus Julia and Kiana, and of course, Charlotte and Bliss won that.
Oh, cool. So are they like number one contenders again,
That I don't
or?
think that was ever explicitly stated, but it certainly does seem to be the case. Yeah.
All right, well there you go.
So then we
Anything
had
else from? Yeah.
the big gauntlet match. The Priest and Truth won, and then we had a weird backstage thing with Randy Orton and Sami Zayn that led to Aleister Black talking to Sami Zayn about Orton. It was weird. Then we got the Rhea Jade segment, Oba, Femi, and Johnny Gargano, and then the main. So yeah, no, we're done with SmackDown.
So just real quick though, because I even said aloud, and I know you didn't interject at the time. Like I wondered if Sammy had a segment with any forward movement, and you said he did something with Orton. Did Sammy
Yes.
crash out again and flip over another table, or not go for a water
No,
bottle before Black came in?
no. He was basically like the Sami Zayn character thinks way too much like a normal, decent human being to be a wrestler. Because he was talking to Orton and he was telling him about how, like, in his triple threat, Drew attacked and he knocked out the other two guys, and so Sammy thought he was doing the right thing, and then Cody just immediately came over and beat him, and then he has Randy. Well, when what happened in the cage with you with Drew going after Cody, and then you just immediately hitting the RKO on him to win? How do you do that? How do you just take advantage of situations like that and still kind of consider yourself to be a good person? And Orton didn't really try that hard to justify it. He just kind of basically did the same old, like, well, sometimes you got to do what you got to do shit. And then he told Sammy, sometimes maybe maybe you should think about just listening to the voices in your head. And then Black shows up, and I don't even remember what Black said, honestly. He was weirdly cryptic in a way that I couldn't even really make sense of. What did he say? He said not to worry about it. It's just the nature of the beast about Orton to Sammy.
So Sammy, though, from the way you're framing it, it didn't even seem like he was being antagonistic to Orton, and quite the
No,
contrary,
he
actually,
was
from the way
actually
you're
being
saying.
really cool to Orton. He even like wished Orton luck. He told him and he hopes he wins it at Mania and everything. It was really nice.
According to Alex, Sammy also had a moment with Cody as well on the show. Do you
Oh yeah,
remember
that
anything
was
about
that
that?
was Sammy's crash out.
Interesting. So what happened
But it
there?
wasn't like a physical crash out. He was just shouting a lot.
Oh wow, Sammy. I don't know, man. I know we've been thinking heel turn. I hope he's not the one that attacked Jay, because we have to remember that Jay did get assaulted. He was supposed to be in the chamber, and then he wasn't.
Oh
But
yeah.
man,
Who ended
yeah,
up replacing Jay again?
that's a great. Logan Paul.
Oh, for fuck's
Logan
sakes.
Paul.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what though? If Sammy was the one who attacked Jay, you would think that he would benefit from that somehow, and he did not. So
I want there to be security footage where he did the attack and then he just kind of does the no yeet, but like mocking the yeet pose before he walks off. Look, security footage in wrestling, I'm still popping all these years later, or all this time later, with Carlito attacking fucking Dragon Lee and then leaving the frame only to come back into the frame and be like, somebody help! Bitch, you did this! Like, what? So, yeah.
so
Yeah,
here's
that's great.
since we're done with SmackDown, I wanted to
Yes.
kind of get a jump on this. Did you know
Yes.
that NXT Vengeance Day was today?
I was going to transition to that. Yes, well, here's how I found out because Jada Parker did a promotional video, I think like a half hour before the show, acting like she was like a news reporter. And I think she like insulted Blake with some kind of insult that I truthfully do not remember. So then I'm like, oh yeah, Vengeance Day. I was disappointed that I missed Tatum's match against Izzy, but she did beat
She
Izzy
won,
for the
yeah.
Women's North American Championship. Blake did beat Jada in their
Hmm.
street fight, which cool. I'm not backing down from my prediction that Jada will beat JC for the NXT Women's Championship. We will just have to see, I guess, how that
Blake's going
goes.
after the North American title, I think. She's a heel. That's on a face now. It makes sense.
Yeah, and plus she has kind of a controversial history of that Women's North American title because I feel like she lost it in
Yeah.
weird means.
Yeah.
So makes sense. I know that Lola, of course, won NXT Underground. I'm really just so over Lola Vice personally, but
Yeah.
Kalani should be really proud about how she carried herself as a heel in that feud. Even in the parts of the match that I watched, she was great. She got into it with Lola's dad, and I'm like, yeah, Kalani, give it to everybody. Um, and then yeah, that's really all I cared about. So I don't know if Joe Hendry
Yeah.
beat Ricky
He did.
Saints, and
He
I don't.
did. He retained.
He did. Okay, and then I'm guessing Tony D beat Dion Lennox.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, looks like that push is going dark. So yeah, that
What
was
push? You have
yeah,
to
really.
have a push in order for a push to go dark. They didn't get a push. They had a cool debut and then they were milk toast tag champs and then they lost the titles and now they're nothing.
Yeah, that's fair. Did you have any thoughts that you want to share about Vengeance Day? Because I know I just gave a very like quick
No,
overview.
I have nothing. It's really cool that Tatum won that title back. I'm really happy for her. I hope that Izzy moves up. And I do mean like in any way, literally have her go up to the main title scene, like the world title scene, like feuding with whoever else wants to piece of JC, or just move up to the main roster. I'm cool with either.
I want to see Izzy just have a little bit more time personally. I wouldn't mind if she got involved in the NXT Women's World Championship picture.
Yeah.
But let's just very quickly, because I barely watched any of this. The only thing from Raw that I really watched, Penta, is the new Intercontinental Champion.
Mm-hmm.
Because Danhausen cursed Dominic Mysterio, so they're doing the thing, and I'll be honest, they're doing it to at least cool effect. You know, it's like okay, he's a babyface cursing heels, and it's really benefiting babyfaces that I think fans have wanted to see get shit done for a long time. I know a lot of people. I mean, looking at the YouTube now, Penta winning the Intercontinental title has over 850,000 views. I think
Wow.
that's probably second to Roman and Punk's segment, which God, that segment. We'll get to that in a little bit. Yeah, it's the second. Well, actually, no. It's third because Roman Punk is first, and then right behind that is Seth Rollins curb stomping Paul Heyman. So that was first. But yeah,
That did happen.
when you're competing with CM Punk and Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins, and you're still doing those kinds of numbers, I mean, Penta is insanely over. There's no doubt about that. So happy for him being Intercontinental Champion. I know you have never cared for Dominic Mysterio having the title back, so now that it's on Penta, what would you like to see Penta do at Mania involving the Intercontinental title? Are we thinking multi-person match? Are we thinking, what are your thoughts, if you have any?
I want to see him unmask El Grande
Uh,
Americano.
I
Mask
like that.
versus
I like that.
championship.
Nice, nice.
Penta wins,
Um,
unmasks Americano. I, from a match quality standpoint, I would rather it be original El Grande Americano, but it can be any of them, honestly. There's really only two El Grande Americanos. There are two other masked goons. I would love to see Penta unmask all of them. Start with Chadius, start with the original El Grande, and then have him go as a pure baby face. Or better yet, this is something I even like even more. Have original El Grande Americano help Penta beat new El Grande Americano by neutralizing the other two dweebs so that then all three of those guys have to unmask. And then after they've unmasked, Chad unmasks voluntarily. And we end this bullshit.
that would be really nice. That would be really nice.
And speaking
Yeah,
of
as
the
I
Americanos, the original Chad faced off with Ryo Americano, which I don't even know whether that was done or bait because I didn't watch the match.
okay, I didn't either. Um, already mentioned Seth curb stomping Heyman. Uh,
That's
so
done.
that was
Ryo is done.
okay. Ryo is done. Um, so do you? But you didn't watch the match, and I didn't either. So do you even know who won that match? Just to check in
Oh
real
yeah,
quick.
Chad won.
Okay, Chad won. Okay. Um, we
Dude,
know LA Knight.
WWE really said we like luchadors, but we don't want to sign any Latino people, so we're just gonna have a bunch of white dudes put on masks and pretend to be luchadors.
That seems quintessentially 2026 America, as far as I'm concerned. That seems to really fit the fucking bill these days.
Also,
Uh,
fuck hiring. It's really we like luchadors, but we don't want to feature any actual Latinos. So we're gonna just put a bunch of white dudes in masks. Because you have Ray Phoenix, you have fucking Dragon Lee. You even have some guys who are former luchadors that you could have put on masks that would actually be respecting the heritage, like Berto and Angel and uh, Cruz del Toro. That you and fucking I mean, Christ, you have Rey Mysterio for fuck's sakes. But no, let's throw out a bunch of white dudes instead in masks.
yep, yep. Again, not really surprised when you look at where the country is today. Um, yeah. So Paul Heyman got stopped. Apparently, LA Knight stole the ambulance with Paul Heyman inside. So maybe LA Knight will do something with the Vision of Mania. Don't really care. Um,
I think he's
oh,
going to be
but
in something with Logan and or Theory.
yeah, because they're really hoping, I think, that Seth is able to do what they plan to do with Braun Breaker.
Yeah.
Which that could also be a fun match just from an in-ring standpoint.
Yeah.
I saw Liv's backstage thing on Stephanie. I really enjoy and am proud of Liv's growth as a talker, just getting so much more confident,
Yeah.
just saying, you don't know my story, kind of thing, and what I've sacrificed, and it's not my fault. I mean, I'll tell you, there was one line, I don't want to misquote Liv here. So I almost want to play this again, but I know they're not going to. If I turn captions on, I wonder if that would work. Because I'll tell you, there was one line in here where I'm like, "Ooh, that's a bit much, isn't it?" Where she talked about what was it like, Stephanie? It's not my fault that you had to wrestle in like flea-bitten rings or whatever, or something to that effect. And I'm like, damn, pretty much saying like Stephanie wrestled in shitholes more or less. Yeah, I'm kind of doing this promo now on 2x speed with closed captioning on so that the audio doesn't, come over or whatever. Yeah, she said, you don't know how I struggled to get where I am. And she did admit that she is privileged. And she said, I'm sorry I got signed to WWE when I was 20 years old. I'm sorry. Oh, okay, yeah. She said, I'm sorry. Let me again quote her exactly because that was a little much. Let's see, yeah, because that one line I was like, goddamn. So she admits again that she was privileged. Sorry I got signed to WWE at 20 years old. And then she said, I'm sorry that I had the best of the best while you grew up in a mud hut wrestling in flea infested rings for 10 years.
Okay, so
Damn.
That's just racism.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah, that's really what I thought. Like, I really like Liv as a talker and as a performer, but whoever fed her that line, and I pray somebody fed her that line, Jesus fucking Christ.
Sounds like something Michael Hayes would write.
Yeah. Oh my God, I hate Michael Hayes. Yeah, I was like, yikes.
I mean, the thing is, Triple H had to sign off on it. We know that.
Well, I mean, and we know he's not beating the allegations. So,
he's not
there was that.
to beat any allegations. He doesn't give a fuck anymore.
No, he embraces it, if anything. So yeah, that happened. We already talked about Penta. What other big thing from Raw? Oh yeah. Should we just talk about unless there was something else you want to talk about prior? But I'm good to just get into this Roman Punk segment because goddamn.
I mean, yeah, we can talk about Roman and Punk because this was really the only thing on the entire show other than the very brief appearance of Obafemi that got me out of my chair, that got my attention to the point that like I wanted to really, sit up and like eyes glued to the TV kind of thing. Can I just say CM Punk has just throughout this feud has tried so many times to Lil Bro Roman and it just doesn't work because Roman is actually imposing and CM Punk looks like a fucking Applebee's waiter.
Yeah, dude, first of all, I have to thank you because sometimes I wonder if I go too hard on Punk's aesthetic, but I'm sorry, like between Finn Balor and now this, like I'm glad I'm not the only one that sees it. Like you talk about aura farming, Roman has this innate aura to him, just the way he carries himself. Punk, I don't know what happened. Well, I mean, because even in his AEW run for most of it, until the Chicago Way promo that he did on Moxley, I'm like, this isn't too bad. And then it just took a nosedive for me from that promo, and then we know the whole AEW controversy. But then he comes back to WWE, and I'm probably misusing this term to be fair, but it low key just has like edgelord energy or something. Like he feels like an internet tough guy, not like an actual tough guy. And I don't know. I feel this disconnect. I really do. But please continue, because I want you to give your full thoughts on the segment first.
Yeah, I mean, I do think that it does pop me pretty much every time that Roman calls CM Punk Phil. That pops me because I call him Phil all the time too. Uh, just like, yeah, I guess that's kind of how Roman feels too. I also appreciate the idea that like Roman several times implied that he is in with management and that he was part of the decision to bring Punk back at all. And so
Yes.
he kind of implied that Phil only has a job here because Roman signed off on it. And so maybe Phil should be grateful for that. And also the idea that like he was like, we brought you in because we thought you could, sell a couple T-shirts, maybe pop a little bit of an attendance in Chicago. You're not here to be a world champion. I love that line. That's Roman Reigns speaks for me sometimes.
Dude, Roman just scorched him, and then Punk's brain was like disconnecting in an error 404. And what came out of his mouth was, your dad's dead, more or less. And
Dude, I
yeah,
can't believe that like CM Punk is basically resorting to MJF level heat. And that's the weirder thing is that he's supposed to be a face. Why are you doing shit to get heat? That was like how does that even make sense? And this is why I mentioned earlier though that like this isn't something that a top babyface says to literally anyone. Like, I don't care how personal or heated a feud gets, going out of your way to bring up that your opponent's father died in real life last fucking year just because you want to hurt their feelings is heel shit 101. And worse, it's not even good heel shit. It's fucking bush league heel shit.
yeah, it's funny you mentioned MJF because you're not entirely wrong, but my first thought was Christian Cage has entered the chat. Because that was his whole shtick for so
Yeah,
long in AEW,
you're right.
was
It
just like,
is. I mean, to be
yeah.
fair, I think the reason that I went straight to MJF is because there is no wrestler on the planet more likely to go out of their way to talk about like sensitive subjects that are like backstage, like peep things that like only the hardcore in the know fans would know about and care about, other than MJF. He's the one dude that always does that shit.
Yeah. And no, I said it before after Elimination Chamber when CM Punk beat Finn Balor, because that's believable. That I genuinely, and I know it's not gonna happen. Again, this is just John speaking in his own voice. I want Roman Reigns to beat him in 10 minutes, 5 minutes even. Like, I want Roman Reigns to squash this fucking dude. I know he won't, but I would love it. Daniel Bryan is fucking ass from when Sheamus beat him in 18 seconds. Like, because you've already lost twice in the UFC. Okay, so that illusion is immediately gone. And then, I mean, look at yourself. Like, I don't believe it. I don't believe that a guy that looks like CM Punk and gets blown up like CM Punk can go with a guy. And I know people have been kind of poking more at Roman Reigns for being like a part-timer and shit. Let's keep in mind, this dude, and I think still for the rest of his life, he takes medication for leukemia. And he is still in incredible fucking shape. And I still think if you asked Roman, despite however many times he may appear a year, hey, Roman, go and work 30 minutes with Finn Balor or Brock Lesnar or Gunther or whoever, he could do it. And he could look good doing it. No, I hope he fucking squashes his ass. I'm tired of this fucking shit. I don't know if he will. Let me rephrase that. I don't know if he'll beat CM Punk. I know he's not going to squash CM Punk. I don't know if he'll
God,
beat
that would
CM
be
Punk.
so cathartic though.
Dude, you already know that I do like the creaming gifs of the Discord. I would spam that shit in the Discord if he fucking squashed CM Punk. I'm telling you right now. So yeah, I don't know if he'll even beat CM Punk. I mean, I know we say because we don't really cover PLEs the way we used to anymore. I am inclined to think he will. Especially after that line about the dad. Like, I don't know how you don't have Roman go over as a get back after that shit. But then again, this is Triple H's WWE, so I feel like the old rules don't always really apply. So yeah, we'll see. But I hated this. And then see, here's the thing. Here's the thing. because I don't know if you caught this, and maybe I'm thinking too much of it, but Punk even tells on himself that he knows what a weak ass bitch he is, even in kayfabe, because the moment he drops that deadline, he leaves the ring and he holds the finger up. You left like your life depended on it to be like, oh, got him. And Roman, he didn't go after you right away because he was still mentally processing. Wait, did he just throw my dead father in my face? Because if you had actually stood your ground and stared him eye to eye, you would have had a brawling segment, and I have to believe in kayfabe that Roman would have left you on your fucking ass. So, yeah, it was funny to me that Punk immediately fled, which didn't make him look any better either.
Again, though, that's
So,
so heelish. He's like, haha, your dad's dead. See ya.
yeah, exactly. Exactly.
That's not a babyface thing to do at all. That's not even a tweener thing to do. Because like tweeners can be assholes to babyfaces, but even tweeners have a certain line that they don't fucking cross. That would, if they would cross them, would just make them fucking heels.
Yeah.
And that's
I
what
mean,
it feels
and you
like Punk
didn't.
did here. It feels like Punk crossed the line into heel territory here, at least for me.
Oh, dude, for sure. I think to any sensible person, for sure. So, yeah, not to belabor the point, that's pretty much all of WWE wrestling. Did you see anything from AEW this week that you would want to talk about or
no.
broach?
I genuinely, you're more likely to catch me watching AEW or TNA. Wait, did you ask about TNA?
No, I did not ask about TNA. I asked
You
about
asked about
AEW.
Yeah, you're more likely to catch me seeing something TNA related than AEW.
Did you see anything TNA related this week?
I might have maybe, but nothing worth talking about. There was a match between Mara Sade and another former NXT girl that I forget. Who just got? Oh, Elena Black, formerly Cora Jade.
Okay, okay.
But I mean, it's not like it was a match to write home about or anything. They just had a match.
Yeah.
So like that's the main thing I remember. Elijah did have a talking segment. I guess Frankie Kazarian hosts like a Miz TV style talk show on TNA now.
Yeah.
I think it's called the King's Speech or something along those lines. He calls himself the King of TNA or something like that.
Yeah.
And so like yeah, that was a thing. Um, Elijah was trying to do this shtick where he would every time Frankie Kazarian would ask him a question, he would respond in like a fourth wall break where he would like step away, the arena would go dark and a spotlight would shine on him like he was like talking to the camera basically. And eventually Frankie stepped to him and was like, "You're not going to disrespect me on my own show," and basically ruined the bit. Um, so that wasn't funny at all, in my opinion. So that was a thing. Yeah, no, it was. TNA is like, it's interesting that I would rank TNA above AEW because it's like, it makes me think of the biggest difference between me and Alex Foster because the biggest difference between how Alex Foster and I enjoy media is if something actively pisses me off, I rank it below something that bores me. But if something actively pisses Foster off, he ranks it above something that bores him because at least it makes him feel something. I'm not like
Yeah.
that. If something pisses me off, it pisses me off and I don't want to watch it and it makes me angry. If something bores me, at least I can have it on in the background while I do something else. Like with TNA, it can be on in the background and I can be playing a game or browsing the internet or whatever. It's not going to bother me. It's not going to offend me. It's like whatever. It's like, mindless content. I just don't have to think about it that much. There are fewer things in AEW that annoy the absolute fuck out of me than there are. I'm sorry, I said that backwards. Fewer things in TNA that annoy the absolute fuck out of me than there are in AEW. So my mom wants to watch TNA for Elijah. I don't protest because I really genuinely don't mind because TNA it's like empty calories for me. It's like it doesn't matter to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Then I guess we're done with the wrestling section, which means it's
Yeah.
time for everybody's favorite section. Yeah, politics.
Oh
So
boy, should I
here,
mute? Are you gonna go on a long one?
probably. I'm gonna try a little something different though. So here's the thing, guys. Obviously, things are pretty fucking bleak right now, domestically and abroad. And I know that there is a lot. So what I'm gonna do again is it takes a village. So I'm gonna first of all shout out the people that know more than me. I shout out Secular Talk. He does amazing, almost hour-long breakdowns on Iran. He's been doing that pretty regularly. I just want to go over a few key points in Iran because there's also quite a bit of stuff domestically. So we're not going to spend as much time this week, I hope, on Iran. What you guys need to know essentially is, first of all, Tehran, which is the capital of Iran, is on fire. Israel has been pounding it with missiles. The U.S. has been pounding it with missiles. I know an oil tanker was hit in Tehran. There are pictures of the flames there. Absolutely insane. My heart is breaking. I had a really tough day mentally, guys, with Iran because, I mean, we already know that girls' school, 165 little girls dead. Obviously, more children since then with all these strikes, which are in densely populated residential areas. Civilians absolutely being targeted. So a lot happening there. Iran also responding. They're hitting oil tankers trying to pass through the Strait of Hormuz, which they've closed and they control. They're trying to disrupt energy channels and oil supply chains, which are going to have massive, massive consequences for the global economy. We're already seeing the price of gas going up, and I'm telling you guys,
it's going up by at least 30 cents a gallon in my area already, and it's only been like a week.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Ashton, because I do appreciate when, you can fill in with any of your experience, because unlike me, you actually do drive. So there's that. I do expect in parts of the world, food supply might even be threatened because I'm telling you, I mean, these are key channels here that make the world economy run. That's why, and that's the thing I need people to grasp. This isn't the fucking 1800s anymore. This is a world economy. Everything is interconnected, which is why.
Just to be clear, when you mean it's not the 1800s anymore, back in the 1800s, a lot of economies, individual countries were able to be more self-sufficient, self-reliant in their own economy.
Yes.
Like they produced their own goods, they consumed their own goods, and if they had to trade, it was for stuff that they couldn't produce. Nowadays, there are countries that are basically just dedicated to producing very few products because they are the best country that can actually do that, and they ship that shit. That is their export. They export it everywhere. That's how they make a ton of money. They use the money they make from exporting that one or two or three or four things to buy the rest of the shit their country needs, and it is a global system.
Yes.
That's not how it's always been. That's only been like that since the Industrial Revolution, really.
Yes.
Which was in the early 1900s, by the way.
Yes. Thank you again for that, because I know, like, I need to learn to communicate better, so I appreciate you for explicating things. I think it's just a matter
of, like, trying to look at things from more of a layman's perspective, because you're very in the weeds.
Yes, which I'm cursed. So we have to understand too. I'm trying to hit all the key points here because I want to get through this quick. But Israel has hit a lot of civilian infrastructure in Iran, particularly hospitals. A lot of hospitals have been hit. Gaza happening, Gaza being tolerated by the international community laid the groundwork for this. Now, let's not get it twisted. The U.S. and Israel, especially the U.S., has been fucking with Iran for decades. But Netanyahu even said recently in a video that he has wanted this for 40 years. And now they're going all the way because they know that this doesn't have popular support. No, the last poll I saw, only like 28% of Americans even wanted this, which, to be perfectly honest, that number is too high. That number is too high. Yes. But even so, massively unpopular. This is not Iraq. And another problem is, and I'm seeing kind of internal reporting on this from like independent media, Trump, I think, feels very emboldened by the Venezuela operation where Maduro was abducted, because now he's thinking, oh, I've got the playbook. I can just indict a leader, have a legal pretext to go in, and then I deploy people like fucking game pieces to go and carry out my operations. So, and I say this because there has been talk from, I think Trump and one other figure, I don't know if it's Rubio or somebody else. Again, guys, it has been a lot in my mental health. I'm hoping to take a day tomorrow just to not even look at anything. They're saying Cuba's next. Now, that's fucking horrific because I've been saying for the last few weeks that Cuba is undergoing a fuel blockade from the U.S., not to mention the sanctions that has been put on Cuba for decades because they, checks notes, decided to challenge capitalism and do communism as a society. Oh my God, the terror. So, yeah, Cuba, they are trying to socially and economically and on every front cripple Cuba so that, again, you can make Cuba kind of a U.S. proxy state serving capitalist interests, serving ruling class interests. Israel, which we have to understand is a proxy state of the US, is serving empire, but Israel is in a unique position where they have had two presidents, one in Joe Biden, very sympathetic to Zionism, I think even referred to himself as a Zionist, which is the kind of Jewish nationalist ideology that all this territory in the Middle East belongs to us by right of God, which I can't tell you how many times I've seen the word holy war this fucking week from US command and beyond, like, oh, this is to usher in Armageddon, which is when Jesus will return on a winged horse. And whatever militant atheism I let die in my 30s, I'm not going to lie to you. I felt some of it come back in my throat a little bit this week, seeing how fucking nuts these Christian fundamentalists are that are a poison to fucking government and really just society in general.
Yeah.
So Israel, with their Zionist ideology, they had Joe Biden, who was a Zionist, and then with Trump, well, I mean, having Epstein as a Mossad asset, they are making bank. I mean, my God. All that intelligence gathering he did for them for years until he, quote unquote, committed suicide really paid off for them, because a lot of people are thinking Netanyahu and just that whole government has blackmail on Trump. And they're saying, hey, do this or else. But here's the thing. That's not even to let the U.S. off the hook, because I feel like they've always wanted to do this to Iran. I just feel like they would have wanted to do it differently. This is very, like, in your face, we're going to bomb the shit out of them. It's a video game mentality. I'll put it to you that way. It is a video game mentality. If we drop enough bombs, we get what we want. But the problem is that Iran has a very decentralized command structure. A lot of people, whether CIA personnel or people within Iran, they all say the same thing. This is not going to work. If the goal is regime change. We've obviously talked last week that Israel's main goal would be making Iran a failed state. You have balkanization, you have a bunch of different territories that together used to make Iran. Now they're a bunch of different warring territories. And that guy, I don't know his name, but the guy that you shared with me in the politics channel where he said that Iran, or that the US will lose the war, that same guy did a video where he said after they're broken up into these different faction states, the goal is to get them fighting for water forever. And that's believable because before all of this happened, part of the protests against the Islamic Republic in Iran were about the water crisis. So that absolutely is 100% believable. But with all of that said, let's get, and the civilian death toll and everything continues to climb. I think we're well over 1,000 Iranians dead. It's probably higher. That is a conservative estimate because, again, guys, things are happening all the time. So I'm just asking you to be patient with me. So here are the big things I want to talk about here. And this comes from a friend of mine on Facebook named Jace Short. It's Jase, and then Short is Short. And I spell it out because he has a wonderful Substack that I would recommend reading if you care more about this stuff. But I wanted to read two of his Facebook posts. I'm going to read this one first because this is immensely important. And then I'm going to talk about boots on the ground because that's also been talked about a lot more within the Trump government. So this is the first post he did. I believe this was yesterday. He said, here is the basic bind of this war. 1. The Gulf is effectively shut down, meaning a critical link in the chain of the world market is broken. That's important. Let's keep that in mind. Number 2, negotiation seems off the table. As Israel is killing all potential negotiators, that's true. Trump even came out and said anybody that they would have replaced the Ayatollah with and the Islamic Republic with, they're dead. I mean, he straight up said that. It's one of the most morbid things I've ever read because Israel doesn't want a puppet government. They want a failed state. So again, remember that. And Trump has demanded now, this is a newer thing, he's demanded the unconditional surrender of Iran, which disgusts me on levels that even I don't have the language for. So Trump wants unconditional surrender. Israel's killing all negotiators and everything because, again, failed state. Number 3. Without negotiation, number 1, now remember, number 1 is the Gulf being shut down and the critical link in the chain of the world market being broken off. Number 1 will create cascading collapse of the world financial system and even disrupt the agricultural supply chain in time for planting season. Commodity inflation will spike, people will die of hunger, there will be bread riots around the world, like the last time such a spike happened. I don't know when that was, he didn't clarify, and currencies will fail. I absolutely believe this. I think anybody that has a very racist notion of Iran or any Middle Eastern country, like, oh, you know, savages or whatever kind of racist rhetoric, get your head out of your ass and read a fucking book. I mean, this is one of the oldest civilizations in human history. They're a very modern, especially Tehran is a very modern city, very industrial city. Now, yes, they are a theocracy, but that doesn't mean that they don't believe in technological development. That doesn't mean that they don't believe in education. They actually have a large population of PhD educated people and everything else. They do really well in STEM. A lot of Iranian universities in STEM rank very highly. This is an educated population. This is a modern fucking population, despite the theocratic rule, which a lot of people didn't even want, and which is the U.S.'s fault because, again, we overthrew their democratically elected leader in 1953, which set off the chain of events that lead us here. So, then in a follow-up comment, Jace says, without negotiations, the war will be resolved in one of two ways. Ground troops. We're going to get back to that in a few moments. But he says ground troops will secure the Iranian coast and naval vessels the Gulf. The consequence will be a major spike in U.S. casualties on a scale unseen since Vietnam and Korea. This will take months to just get troops there at the proper scale. In the meantime, stock markets will crash. Number two, nuclear escalation. The U.S. and or Israel, because keep in mind, they both have nukes. I think a lot of the time we forget that Israel has nuclear weapons. They do. And let me tell you something. That terrifies me a hell of a lot more than Iran ever even possessing one nuclear weapon. So they think that they could use their nukes to, or they could hit Iran with tactical nuclear weapons until they surrender. If they do not surrender, they will strike an Iranian city with a strategic nuclear weapon. God, I hope that doesn't happen, but I'm scared that is genuinely on the table. He says it is conceivable that the scale of the air war can knock out enough of the threat that the Gulf states can open up in terms of normal functioning on the shore, but the tricky problem is the land-based anti-ship missiles. Iran has prepared for a long time, and it is the high ground on the strait, which is very narrow. The U.S. could land troops at Bandar Abbas, I do not know where that is, and the islands off the coast and begin to hunt down missile launchers from these occupied zones. It would open itself up to all the dangers of a ground war, but with air superiority. The path out of this without negotiations or unthinkable escalation is narrow but feasible. Personally, I worry that the impatience and financial issues will drive Trump to the nuclear option. I agree with this 1,000%. Trump is not. I mean, God, George W. Bush, I feel like, was incompetent, but at least they had the semblance of a plan for Iraq, for empire, to control oil and everything else. I don't think there's any kind of well thought out geopolitical strategy here. You have white supremacists, racists, rapists that want to cover up the Epstein files, although let me be clear, this goes far beyond Epstein. Epstein is a part of it, but I don't like people that say this is only because of Epstein. I hate reductive analysis on either side. Multiple things can be true at once. Epstein's definitely a part of it, though. I do not deny that. But yeah, and to quote Kyle Kowinski, because I love this line, he's leaking dementia. I mean, I don't even know if this guy knows where the fuck he is half the time. And he did a press conference, I don't know if this was today or yesterday, but he hands it over to Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of War. And he says, because I think Trump made a joke about, Pete, do you speak any Spanish? And then he says, I speak American, Mr. President. Like, oh my fucking God, this is the level that we're dealing with. These aren't smart generals. They aren't people with a comprehensive plan for empire or geopolitical calculation.
Dude,
I feel like you wanted to. Yeah.
It's kind of amazing how much they remind me of the caricature of Mussolini that we saw in Pinocchio last night.
Dude, yes. Well, that's just it. Fascism and anti-intellectualism, they go in there like a hand in the glove. It enrages me because, look, guys, I know, and I will own this about myself, I love philosophy. I am a bookish guy. I am a nerd, by and large, with that kind of stuff. The culture side and the scholasticide, which pretty much scholasticide is the deliberate destruction of knowledge, so like the bombing of libraries or schools or anything else that we saw in Gaza and that we're probably going to see in Iran, when I tell you it tears my heart in fucking two, and for what? For more real estate projects, for golden fucking statues to Trump? Like, I don't want to be here. Like, it's just so fucking noxious. But let's talk about boots on the ground. Because NBC News even reported that Trump is seriously considering boots on the ground. I mean, this is how you get to stay in Iran for 20 fucking years, right? And that's what everybody said. This is going to be another forever war. And it really seems like that might be the case. Now, I'm going to go back to Jace again because he does a far better analysis than I do. And again, go where the helpers are, go where the knowledge is. He talks about boots on the ground, so let's talk about that. He says boots on the ground. Trump seems to be considering it. The Pentagon is quietly mobilizing rapid response forces, including the 82nd Airborne and some Marine Expeditionary Forces, and of course the forces of JSOC. I don't know what that is an acronym for. Realistically, there could be troop deployments to secure the Gulf and Strait of Hormuz, which keep in mind, Iran controls the Strait of Hormuz, and that's been a problem right now for the U.S. and Israel because like I think 30% of the world's oil goes through there. With airborne and marine landings at the ports of Bandar Abbas, Bushehr, and Minab, where the elementary school massacre, where 165 girls took place, as well as the islands under Iranian control. The objective would be to deny boats the capacity to operate against Gulf shipping and deploy against land-to-ship missiles, which would be coming from higher ground. Casualties could be high, although the U.S. enjoys air superiority. Now, in Jay's estimation, he says a full-scale invasion would take maybe 6 months to gather the troops for. They would amass in Kuwait, which Kuwait is stationed in that's a place in Iraq. They would have to get through the strait. The U.S. would have to field at least 100,000 troops, significantly less than Iraq, in order to carry this out. It would end badly. 200,000 would really be the advisable end, but I do not imagine they would deploy that many for any operation. They will assume they will not need to occupy Iran or all of Iran. That would take more than 600,000 troops that deployed in the Persian Gulf War, a number that the current United States armed forces cannot realistically deploy. So the question then is, what are we doing here? Trump seems to be shifting on the topic. He is saying he does not care about oil prices. He does not care about polls. This is new for him. What is going on in his rotting brain at this stage? But now we know from NBC News, because I think that article from NBC came out after Jace's post, boots on the ground is a very real possibility, and we do need to consider that. And I would advise anybody that Trump is trying to draft into this bullshit, do not fucking go. Throw your guns down, resist. You know that this is an illegal fucking war. And even if it was legal, you know how I feel about the whole talk of legality, but just working from that framework, this is not legal. I really hope people refuse to fucking do this because this is insane. You're fighting for the Epstein class. You're fighting for pedophilic billionaires that want to control oil and don't see any value in human fucking life. I really hope they don't fucking go. But yeah, boots on the ground has become very real. And the final thing, which will allow us to dovetail into more domestic news, I have seen two different stories today from independent media, so take it with a grain of salt. But then again, I don't really know because so much of our mainstream media is co-opted by far-right voices anymore. That apparently intelligence gathering by FBI and other agencies have shown that there is an increased risk of a terror attack from Iran in light of this war. And Trump is suppressing that from the public. He doesn't want that to be released to the public. Now, I don't know. I've already had friends, you and I, Ashton, we were even talking about it last night, that there could be a fucking false flag operation, that there could be something that Trump could use as a pretext for, oh, well, we've got to cancel midterms, or I need martial law, or whatever the case is. That's why I've even told Javaris, and Javaris, I'm not, like, calling you out negatively. You know, I got nothing but love for you, brother. But I know you've said a few times, like, I don't want to see black people get involved in like protesting or whatever because Trump would use that as a pretext for martial law. You're not wrong, but what you need to realize is they'll find a way. When you want to do something bad enough, and these people are deranged, they have a lot of designs for the earth, they will find a way. There are plenty of routes to get to martial law. That wasn't the only one. Again, I don't disagree with you, but I could see it. I mean, here's the thing. I am thinking things that I used to laugh at 10 years ago because I used to think conspiracy theorists, and not to say that I agree with them on everything now, but it's like, oh, that's unhinged stuff. That's like, you know, uneducated stuff, even racist stuff, whatever. But we are in such unprecedented times that I don't even know where to draw my own line anymore between conspiracy and plausibility. Because these people are fucking, I mean, this is a deranged regime. This is a regime that is propping up a man that is very clearly mentally unfit for office. And look, I love the disability community. I'm a part of the disability community. I don't think there's anything ableist in saying that. It's the fucking truth. Like, I hear the guy talk. I see the guy decomposing in front of us. He's clearly fucking unfit. And so this, I don't even know how to navigate this intellectually, because what do you believe and what do you not believe? But yeah, could I believe, just to say it with my whole chest, that Trump would use this to stage a kind of attack, claim that it was by Iran, whether true or not, and then say, well, I need martial law, this is a matter of national security, whatever? Abso-fucking-lutely. These people have no scruples, no conscience of any kind, and power is the only thing that matters. wasn't it only like 2 weeks ago or maybe just last week in like Texas or something where there was like a attempted mass shooting at a bar or something and the guy was wearing a shirt property of Allah and he apparently had a Quran in the back of his car. I mean, really? Really? Like, I'm telling you guys, because they know how unpopular this war is. And they want to try and get us to turn on Iranians. I ain't gonna fucking do it. Hell, I'm barely even mad at the Islamic Republic. I'm mad at the Islamic Republic for being a bad government for Iranians, but at the same time, I'm also mad at us, our government, for even making that government possible in the first place. My anger, first and foremost, is with the U.S., then Israel, because Israel's the proxy state here, and then the Islamic Republic solely for how they've suppressed and maltreated Iranians, but that is for Iranians to organically deal with through their own political organization and self-determination. That is not on us. What is on us is gunking up the works of this fucking bullshit. We really need to get this fucking house in order. But with all of that said, let us transition to domestic news. Kristi Noem has been fired as the head of Department of Homeland Security. Replaced by Mark Wayne Mullen. I don't even really know if that's much of a difference positively or negatively. I mean, it's MAGA, it's far right. So it's like, how many flavors of fascism do you really want, right? So that was the big news there. Jobs report. Did you hear about the jobs report, bro? That actually
Nope.
we've lost 92,000 jobs. They were expecting a gain of 50 something. We've lost 92,000 in February.
I'll never forget. There
So
was a statistic that got quoted on one of the debates. It might have been the vice presidential debate or something. One of the debates in 2024 that basically since Reagan, there have been, I think the number was like 51,000 or 51 million jobs created, and Republican presidents have been responsible for 2 million of those 51 million, and this is the other 49 have been Democrat presidents.
yeah, yeah. Well, you and I have even seen TikToks in the past and whatnot about how Democrats historically are just better for the economy. Like Republicans are always shit for the economy every fucking
Mm-hmm.
time. And I now again, this is conjecture. This is not me reporting anything. This is more the opinion side, the more editorializing side. I have to wonder if Trump is worse than Reagan already, or if like he's just speed running trying to catch up to Reagan. Because we know that
The
we're
thing
still paying
is,
for
like,
Reaganomics to this day.
as
But
much as
yeah,
like, okay, so I think let me, okay, so Trump is worse than Reagan in some ways. Reagan, Nixon really started all this shit, and then
yeah,
Reagan accelerated it, and it feels an awful lot like Trump wants to finish it.
yeah,
Because
yeah.
like the whole like lowering of taxes on the rich and allowing rich people to basically own politicians and conduct or determine policy, that has been getting chipped away at with pretty much every Republican president. Like it started with Nixon, and then it started happening even more with Reagan, and then Bush accelerated it even more. And there's it's just there's just nothing that we as individuals can do about it at this point. It feels like.
Yeah. No, it's absolutely disgusting. And then, this isn't me trying to go back to Iran because I already talked that to death and everything, and I think, all the main points. But when I say, like, you got to be careful more than ever, whether domestic or international in the news you get, bro, I cannot tell you how much right-wing content is on my Facebook now against my will. Like, you'd think if an algorithm really works, right, to somebody's preferences, I would have commie shit out the ass. But there is so much right-wing stuff on my fucking Facebook, and if you block it, they count that as engagement as a pretext to put even more stuff on. So really be careful, guys, because they're trying to make the Overton window just a purely right-wing thing, where anything like left of Reagan is like, oh my god, this is a bloodthirsty, treasonous person. Oh, speaking of treason, there is actually one more thing based on Iran, but it's still kind of domestic. The Wall Street Journal broke a major story in my mind where Lindsey Graham went to Israel to coach Netanyahu about how to convince Trump to go into Iran. Throw Lindsey Graham under the fucking prison. How that is not treason against public American interest or anything else, I don't fucking know. Do I expect anything to happen of it? No, because we're in a fucking clown world and we're in hell. But that is disgusting. To go over to a foreign power, our proxy state or not, it is still a foreign power for all intents and purposes, and say, hey, here's how you manipulate our leader so that he can do what you want and what I want and what all of my buddies want. I just, yeah. So yeah, Lindsey Graham openly coaching on how to manipulate the president. Isn't it
Hmm.
great? Isn't it great that all of our interests? I mean, man, billions on war, but where's that healthcare, huh? Yeah, Jesus fucking Christ. So to keep it on domestic, I'm sorry, I just had to report that because in my mind that's huge. Because now you have people openly serving the will of other people against American interests, which of course they have. Of course they fucking have. Um, I know the big thing also domestically on a bit of a lighter note, James Tallarico beat Jasmine Crockett. I know a lot of people have been upset about that. There's been questions about voter suppression in Dallas County and everything else. I really don't have a dog in this fight personally. I'm not in Pennsylvania, or excuse me, I'm not in Texas, and I'm not in Pennsylvania either, to be fair. But I'm not in Texas. I like Jasmine Crockett enough from what I've seen. I really don't know Tallarico, but he gets good praise from the people that I trust and that I like. So that's good enough for me. I'm just tired of the whole thing. So do you have actually any thoughts about Tallarico Crockett? Because I know you've seemed a bit more invested than I was in this. So I'll give you the ball on this one if you have anything you want to say.
Listen, here's my thing. I like both of them. I do like both Tallarico and Crockett. I love Jasmine Crockett as a Democrat attack dog. She is so good at like the hearings and the public facing stuff in Congress, like the stuff that you see on C-SPAN. She's really good at making examples out of Republicans. The problem is that doesn't get anything fucking done anymore. It doesn't fucking
Yeah,
matter. That's like West Wing bullshit. Congratulations, you had a viral moment. What policies have you gotten done for me lately? Jack shit.
yeah, exactly.
James
Yeah.
Tallarico is out here preaching anti-billionaire rhetoric. Give me that guy. Yes, please.
Honestly, I already hate the system, and you guys know what I want to do with it. But being a pragmatist for once in my fucking life, everybody should be having fucking study groups with Zoran Mamdani or some shit. Because, like,
Dude,
that dude, I think, has been
yes.
getting the most done out of
What an
anybody.
absolute king he has been.
Yeah, and, like, obviously, my vision for the world is much further left than Zoran, but you gotta start somewhere. And I'll tell you something. We need to get back, because, Rosa Luxemburg, I watched a great Instagram about this. She does say that there's a place for voting, but you vote so that you either not necessarily even for reform because she doesn't believe in reform. She's a lot like me in that
You
way.
vote for
But
your
you vote
enemy. You vote for your opponent. You vote for who you'd rather go to war with.
exactly, and you vote mainly to organize the working class. And I feel like candidates like Zoran help organize the working class again, at least in my opinion. And you got to start fucking somewhere because here's the thing. I never, and I feel like I have been guilty of this, and I should apologize. I should own when I'm wrong or when my rhetoric could be harmful. I have never wanted to romanticize revolution or revolutionary violence on here. I get that it's a complex process that takes decades to build up to even be feasible. You have to start somewhere. And I feel like candidates like Zoran, and I mentioned him specifically because, again, he's been getting stuff done. He's been actually serving working class people. Candidates like that, we need to use as a springboard to organize local collectives that have solidarity at the bottom. Revolutions and major social change that are positive always begin from the bottom. It'll never happen from the top, ever, ever. So yeah, we need more Zorons in office. We need more Zorons at the local level, especially to galvanize people to organize.
Dude,
And
did
we
you
need some
see
goddamn consciousness.
the snow clearing policy that he put up? When we had that huge blizzard a few weeks ago that everyone was freaking out about, Zoran uh, pulled up a policy from New York City from like the fucking 1800s or some shit that basically allowed
Yeah.
for him to pull from government funding to pay people to shovel the sidewalks. And he upped the pay to $30 an hour. And there were people filming the streets and they were fucking spotless. People were getting paid $30 an hour to go out and shovel snow, and it worked.
The only negative about that is I don't know if there are going to be any snowballs left to pelt Michael Rappaport with to get another chuckle out of me because that
Yeah.
video was fucking iconic.
Yeah. By the
Um,
way, just to be clear, I'm not endorsing doing this, but I have heard that some people like to pack their snowballs with batteries.
oh, damn. Um, so yeah, there's that. I feel like there was more domestic news this week, but I'm kind of blanking. Do you know anything domestically that you would like to talk about that you've heard this week? Because I know Iran's dominated the headlines, understandably, but I also know things have still been happening at home. Um, Actually, no, I'm
Mm.
looking in the wrong channel. Oh yeah, that senator that broke that Marine's arm. That was fucking great. That
I
was great because
I
yeah,
as soon as I heard about that, I it clicked in my mind. Well, okay, that's something that I'm not going to engage with. I have seen so many instances of that video being posted, and so many instances of that video on Reddit and on YouTube Shorts and Facebook Reels, and so many different instances of that specific video being posted everywhere that I look on social media. And every time as soon as I see his arm get locked into the door, basically, like the door closes and his arm is still in there, I close out of the video. I can't watch that shit. There's just
yeah.
no interest in
All
me
be
watching.
all because he had the courage and the conscience to say, "Don't die for a war for Israel." And that senator, who has gotten a lot of money from APAC, apparently wanted to shut him up. I'm telling you, like, I hate it here. Like, we really do not have people that give a fuck about us at all. Because if we did, we'd probably have universal health care long before now, and we still don't. But there's always enough money for war. Um, I will say this isn't really news, but this made me laugh. Ted Cruz got caught with his pants down, like in an interview, because he was once again doing his anti-communist rhetoric. And he more or less said, he said, quote, "My father was imprisoned and tortured in Cuba. I hate communism." Well, actually, it was Bautista who tortured my dad. So for context, Bautista was the leader of Cuba before Castro, the villainous communist, and his group of people overthrew the Bautista government. So that government tortured your dad. The communists practically got restitution for your dad. They got justice for your dad. But yeah, hate the communist. Ted Cruz is a fucking sniveling little weasel. I hope he never sniffs any power beyond his fucking station because he's a goddamn joke. Bro, maybe you could speak more to this than me because first of all, you're far more of a gamer than me, even if just in terms of like consuming gaming news and stuff like that. Is there something going on between like Japan and the US over Nintendo?
Oh,
Like,
dude, yeah. Nintendo literally sued the U.S. government over the tariffs.
yeah.
Yeah,
Is
yeah,
that,
that happened
yeah.
because here's the thing. Nintendo tried really hard to pretend that the tariffs didn't affect the pricing of the Switch 2, which, for those of you unaware, the Switch 2 immediately when it came out, it was priced at 450 US dollars with the option to buy it in a bundle with Mario Kart World for 500. But Nintendo also released a Japanese only language Switch 2 in Japan only for the Japanese yen equivalent of around 330 to 340 US dollars. So that's the actual retail price of the Switch 2. If not for Trump's tariffs, we here in the US probably would have been paying 350 for it, at most 400. And Nintendo was forced to hike the price up because of the tariffs, which also then means that fewer people bought it because the price was higher, which means that Donald Trump's illegal tariffs and that we were ruled illegal by the Supreme Court of the country cost Nintendo money in a major way.
Yeah.
So they're suing
Yeah.
to try and get their money back.
And a lot of companies are going to follow suit from what I understand.
Oh yeah, I've
So,
seen there are even several states. I'm pretty sure Gavin Newsom directly sued the federal government to try and recoup some of the money that he feels he was ripped off of via the tariffs.
yeah. Um, the White House has been using media that they really have no right to propagandize about the war in Iran and like ICE interests and stuff like that. In fact, Gala posted in Politics that Yugi's voice actor commented on the White House using his voice and the series to promote the Iran war. Which, first of all, how the fuck do you even put those two things together?
AI.
Second of all, well, AI, of course. I don't mean like literally. It's just like, how do you even conceive? Like, yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh, that's the way to do it. But yeah, he said, "quote It came to my attention that the White House used my voice to encourage violence in Iran. Takahashi died saving others. Yu-Gi-Oh is universal, not political. It is disrespectful to present it in any other way." And I'm happy when people speak out against this shit because one other thing about Iran that I'm just remembering as we're progressing in the politics section, somebody asked Trump in an interview, do you expect that the map of Iran will look different after this? He's like, oh, I don't know, probably. So like, yeah, I mean, this is like ghoulish. What's fucking happening? And they're gonna try and use fucking Yu-Gi-Oh of all things, which I know you and I have been continuing watching the sub as part of like our pop culture section. On that, it's disgusting. So yeah, that was spoken out against. I don't really know if there was anything else major in domestic politics news, because obviously Epstein is still going. But honestly, and I don't mean to be dismissive or cynical, but I really do think that these are just show trials and show hearings. Like, I don't think anything
Yeah.
actually material
No,
is going to
that's the
come out of
thing. Is
this.
like in the real world where we think we would where we, like to believe we live, the Epstein files should be the biggest scandal of our lifetimes. The Epstein files are literally the revelation that pretty much all of the richest people and most powerful people in this country and in the world, really, going back at least 30 years, probably even more than that, have been basically running an illegal sex trafficking cartel of children. They have literally, and it gets worse than that too, because there's other horrible shit going on there. Like, we've literally heard that there have been actual instances of fucking cannibalism going on
Yeah,
in these Epstein files. Like, it's unbelievable. And like, nothing's happening. There are
yeah,
some things happening in Europe, but even then it's like not really that much. But here in the US, there's nothing happening at all. It is literally radio silence, honestly. It's unbelievable. It's like nothing's really happened. Like, part of me, the optimistic part of me, wants to really believe that they are gathering evidence to drop the world's most ridiculous lawsuit on all of the people involved, and they're trying to make sure that they get everyone involved. But like, trying to be realistic, what are the odds of that actually being true?
exactly, exactly. So I think that's it. Yeah, I know it's still heavy. I wanted to get through the politics a bit quicker, which it's only a little after 12, so I guess we're doing moderately better.
Yeah.
So let's move on to pop culture before I remember something else and I keep us here for another hour. Um, Most recently, we've been on a bit of a Guillermo del Toro run. We did Pinocchio last night, which was a beautiful film, and we did Frankenstein recently as well. Yeah, Del Toro is a fucking amazing, beautiful filmmaker. Love him. Really enjoyed those. Again, you and I have been keeping up with Yu-Gi-Oh! Subbed. We're still in the Kaiba Corp Grand Prix arc, which that's been interesting. Trying to think what else.
I
Let's.
personally feel like the Kaiba Corp Grand Prix arc is trying really hard to recapture the magic of Battle City and failing to do so.
Oh, not even close. Battle City was fucking epic. Like, yeah,
Do you
not
agree
not
though
even
that it
yeah.
feels really like it's trying really hard to recapture that magic and just failing?
I think I wouldn't know about like trying really hard, but I think they were kind of hopeful that it would be similar to that. Like, oh, people love a good tournament, right? But tournaments felt very basic to me,
Yeah.
honestly. Like, I've just been like, it's a quintessential filler arc to me after the Orichalcos arc and everything else. Um, yeah, what other movies have we or shows have we watched? Because I know we watched the Boys trailer, the trailer for the final season. That got me hyped.
Dude,
Um,
the main thing that we watched this week was Made.
that's right. Oh my, I already am trying to suppress it because so many people in that show were awful. But yeah, Maid was great. Maid was great. Would have left Paula on the side of the road, Alex's mom, for anybody that knows that show, which I don't know if anybody in our chat even does.
I don't
But
think
yeah,
anybody, like, I tried to stir up some engagement in the Discord. Nobody knows.
yeah, nobody knows the trouble we've seen. And
The
yeah, it was
anxiety we've experienced.
yes, yes. Um, so yeah, Maid was good. I know Mosaic, I'm so fucking hyped. They're coming out with a new song this Friday, or I guess next Friday the 13th. Is it the third? No, it's not the 13th. I'm wrong there. It's Friday.
It is
No,
Friday
oh
the
my god,
13th.
actually it
Yeah,
is.
it is.
It is Friday the 13th. Wow, wow. Look at me. Damn.
Congrats,
Um
you.
Oh my god, you're the best. So yeah, that's happening. Love them. Excited for that song. It's called Tough Love. So I'm curious what kind of tone that
Ooh.
song's gonna have. Yeah. Yeah, I'd like
What's
to show some
tough
tough.
love got to do with it?
Dude, right? What about you, bud? How about music for you this week? I feel like you've been kind of popping off in the music channel in the Discord, unless I'm misremembering. I feel like you've been
Have I?
posting quite a bit lately there.
Oh, you know what? I know why. It's because somebody started talking about WWE 2K soundtracks. Um, it was Abel. It was Abel brought up that his girlfriend bought them 3 days grace tickets, and then he mentioned that she's trying to get wifed up and it's working. And then I was like, I didn't even know you liked 3 days grace. And he said, I was raised on SmackDown versus Raw. I know some ball. and
Yeah.
and then people started talking about SVR soundtracks, and a lot of it was like 3 Days Grace, and Craig made a list of six that the first two were 3 Days Grace and Breaking Benjamin. So I took it upon myself to post some of my favorite albums. The Phobia album by Breaking Benjamin was one of my favorite albums in high school, and to this day, I think that still is my favorite Breaking Benjamin album. And then 3 Days Grace was, I think it's called 1X is the name of the album that I listened to in high school, the one that has like Pain on it
Yeah.
and I Hate Everything About You and stuff like that. And
Classic.
then but then in college it was Dear Agony and Life Starts Now, the Breaking Benjamin and 3 Days Grace albums that I listened to in college. And then I also talked about how when I was in high school, I absolutely loved this like hard rock, borderline metal group that basically no one knew about called Element 80. They were really cool, and I posted their two albums that I loved. The one was a self-titled album, and then the second one's just called The Bear, and that's the one that I preferred. I love that album. It only had like 8 to 10 songs, but they all slapped. They were all awesome. And then when I was a senior in high school, I discovered Atreyu. This was actually through Madden. It's funny that you guys like to talk about your SVR soundtracks. I've always been partial to Madden soundtracks, and one of the songs on, I think, Madden '06 or '07 was called Becoming the Bull by Atreyu. And I loved that song, and it got me into Atreyu. And they dropped an album, I believe, while I was in college called Lead Sails Paper Anchor that I'm just obsessed with my senior year of high school and into college. And then after I graduated from college, their drummer, who is like their singy singer, like they have a singy singer and a screamy singer. Their
Yeah.
singy singer is also their drummer. He made a band that he was the lead singer of called Hell or High Water, and they put out an album called Begin Again, and I loved that album as well. So I just posted the album covers for all of these albums as just like a journey through my sort of butt rock journey through high school and college, and then I'll leave it a little bit afterward. And then I posted my boop of the day on, I think it was Thursday, Wednesday, was the FWC theme song. And then later on that night, I also posted a song by Les Seraphim called Fearless. And to the literally up until today, including tonight, that song's been stuck in my head and on and off.
Nice. Um, Anything else on your side, like without me? Have you and your mom like been watching anything good, or just you like gaming, or
Um,
anything you want to report on?
Honestly, it's been mostly like '90s sitcoms. We were watching Smart Guy at the beginning of the week, and we partway through the week, I brought up Boy Meets World while we were out and about in the car, and she was like, "Oh my god, I love that show. I would love to watch that." And I was like, "You want to just watch it when we get home?" So we watched a few episodes of that as well, and really, that's been about it. Other than that,
Nice.
I've been even the gaming front has been more chill lately. Like I'm kind of off the Golden Sun hyperfixation, and I'm into a Pokemon hyperfixation because Pokemon Day was a little over a week ago. It was last Friday, and they introduced uh, the Generation 10 titles, Pokemon Wind and Waves. And at the same time, it got me re-interested in Legend ZA, which is the game that I've been playing this week. But I also am 100% intending on buying Pokopia when I get done with Legend ZA, which is the reason I picked ZA back up this week because I want to finish it so that I can buy Pokopia and play that because Pokopia looks really fun.
First of all, I believe in you. Second of all, your face is my utopia. But yeah,
Dude,
that's essentially all
Pokopia,
from me.
your sister would fucking love Pokopia because it is basically Pokemon meets Animal Crossing and Minecraft.
Yeah, we've talked about it before. I am glad you gave me that refresher though, because yeah, I do agree she would probably love that shit.
Yeah.
Um, so if that's all from you, I guess we could get to Q&A then. which I'm thrilled about that. So let's get to Q&A.
Our whole 4
Um,
Q&A questions from Super Blue this week.
yes, indeed. Starting from the third, right?
And most of which I think have already kind of been answered in ways too.
Yes, yes. Um, so question one for both. How do you feel about McDonald's CEO not being able to convince people the Archburger is good? I mean, I got a good laugh out of it, but honestly, I don't mean to be dismissive if I could speak. I feel like my brain's starting to shut down on me. So many other things have been happening that quickly left my mind. But yeah, I mean, I saw the video and you could tell like he doesn't eat this shit. He eats like gourmet food probably or like a strictly vegan diet or whatever because he's one of those rich people that wants to live to be like 150 or some shit. So
He's one of these motherfuckers that is like going to like super fancy restaurants, and he'll have a plate that is like there's like a little tiny slab of meat that takes up 3% of the plate in the very middle of it, that's like in a pool of some kind of like multicolored sauce. And of course there's got to be a caviar on top of it, even though none of it tastes all that good. It's just so fucking fancy and expensive that these rich fucks convince themselves that it's better.
yeah, God, rich people.
Meanwhile, if we're talking about food, I had the best burger I've ever eaten in my entire life this week.
That's right. You did tell me that. And wait, let me see. Let me see. I'm trying to remember where you said it was
I got it
because I
on
know
mute
it
if
was.
you don't remember.
Oh, well, I know you do. I normally don't play these games, and I remember why because my brain short circuiting. Where did you get it?
Hardee's.
It was fucking Hardee's because I knew it wasn't Red Robin or Jack in the Box. I'm
No.
trying to think what other burger places. I never would have thought Hardee's, so I'm glad I didn't waste too much time.
No, that's the thing.
So
It's
Hardee's,
not
huh?
known as a burger place. I've gotten
Yeah.
Red Robin burgers before, and like they're fine. They're not amazing. They're not bad by any means. They're good burgers. But man, this Hardee's burger, and the thing is, I originally ordered a double bacon cheeseburger, and that's all it was. I ordered it plain, so I would not have to deal with like lettuce, tomatoes, mayo, all that shit. I like my burgers classic, literally just beef and cheese, and in this case, I wanted bacon on it. And like they gave me a single, so I just was like, "Hey, I ordered a double. I paid for a double. Can I get a double?" I gave them the receipt, and they were like, "Oh yeah, sure. Here you go. You can keep the single." And so I kept the single, and they gave me a double. And so I combined the patties of the single and double into one bun, got rid of the other bun because who needs it, and ate a triple bacon cheeseburger from Hardee's. And like I said, it was the best burger I've ever had in my life. It was so fucking umami, dude. It was so fucking umami. I tasted beef and bacon, and like it was just such an extreme flavor. It was amazing. I would highly recommend anyone who's into that kind of thing try it, because Hardee's didn't let me down, and I can't imagine that they would let anyone else down. Because honestly, I'm not that big into Hardee's food for the most part. Their fries are mid to me. Their chicken tenders are mid to me. I love their burgers when when I'm in a mood for a good burger. I love Hardee's burgers, and I like their ham sandwiches, and that's literally all I get from there ever.
See, that's how you flex a burger when it's not your specialty. IHOJ, International House of Jackass. Anyway,
Pop.
uh, yes. So yeah, that was a super cool question. So about the CEO though, do you have anything to say about this? Because I
Dude,
really didn't pay him much mind.
it's so funny because him doing this brought up, throughout the sort of annals of internet history, it brought up a previous instance of him, the exact same CEO, trying to make it look like he was enjoying a chicken sandwich. And in the video, he literally spits it out. Like he doesn't literally spit it out, but like you can tell that he's not enjoying it. He grabs a napkin to cover his mouth with, and you can clearly tell that he spits it out of his mouth in the napkin.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. All right.
There have also been
So
other fast food chain CEOs trying to get in on this. Like I think it was either Wendy's or Burger King's CEO posted a picture of him eating one of their sandwiches, and you could also tell that he wasn't that into it. He was just a little bit better of an actor. He took a little bit bigger of a bite, but his instant reaction after the first bite, you could still see him kind of wince a little bit like he wasn't feeling it.
It's amazing. Like, my God, people eat this. I feed this to people. What the fuck?
Oh,
Oh
it's so
man.
sad though, because like not only do we eat that shit, but some of us genuinely do enjoy it, and these motherfuckers just have such fucked up palates that they eat their own cheap food one time and their entire body just rejects it.
Yes. Mm-hmm. All right. Second question from Super Blue. Now that Penta is a champion, what championship do you think Ray Phoenix will win first? I think
Can I
either
say I don't?
that is an option. That is an option. I was going to say I could even see him going down to NXT and potentially winning the North American Championship at one point, but I don't see him winning a main roster title either. Because I was going to say U.S. title, but I don't really fully believe that. So I think my best belief is either like you, he just doesn't, or if he does, it'll be via NXT with the North American title. That's it. So,
That's interesting.
quite
I hadn't even thought about
yeah.
the North American title. That's a very interesting one.
Yeah, well, your face is very interesting to me. I always love learning about it. All right. Question
Whoa.
3.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's right. That happened. Deal with it.
Wow.
Question 3 for both. Should the people of Texas vote for James Tallarico to get rid of the Republicans in spite of Jasmine not winning? Also, there was voter suppression in Dallas County, which is the second largest district in the state that supports Jasmine. Look, I think you should, just being pragmatic. If you're talking to John the person, not trying to be a responsible adult, I am so burnt out on fucking domestic politics. I'm like, I don't even know anymore. Just everything feels like a cul-de-sac of fucking suck.
I am
But
so
yeah,
confused. Like, I saw Javaris earlier say that he doesn't trust Tallarico. Super Blue is asking this as if Tallarico is like a moderate Democrat that we should just like hold our noses and vote for just so that he's not a Republican. Like, James Tallarico is more progressive than Jasmine Crockett. What are you guys talking about?
yeah, there's just been a lot of upset over the election results because I think a lot of black voters do feel spurned. And again, that voter suppression in Dallas County, I think, rubbed people the wrong way. But that's not even Tallarico's fault. That like precedes his run here, and that's really the work of Republicans.
Yeah, like
So
that's the thing. And
yeah,
literally, I've said this so many times in the past, and I feel the need to bring it up again because I feel like it's either been forgotten or ignored. The reddest states in the United States don't actually want to be the reddest states. They are just the most voter suppressed states.
yeah, yeah. We cannot forget about liberal and leftists, in these red states that do organize and do try and push for election reform and more robust electoral infrastructure for fairer, freer elections. That Republicans would suppress at any cost. Hell, that's why prisoners aren't an enfranchised voting class. Because if they were, Republicans would probably never win another race again. Like, this party, the Republican Party, which, I mean, let's be honest, might as well just be the American Fascist Party,
Yeah.
even though I have my problems with establishing Democrats, but that's not what we're talking about right now, and you guys already know. But they're very overtly like, yeah, I keep a copy of Mein Kampf under my pillow type fascists. They know how unpopular they are, right? But again, it's about power for them and enacting their own agenda against our will. So that's why they have to do the suppression and the gerrymandering and everything else, because they would never, in an actually free, fair, legal, everything election, they would never fucking win because their policies are so under the fucking water, especially
If
after this shit.
if the voting if the laws about how we vote here in America change so that ballots were just sent to people's homes and they could just mail them out to and then they would count, Republicans would never win another election again.
No, no. And that's why there's so much talk about Trump wanting to either cancel elections or like rig them or whatever, because every poll I've seen, whether it's on the issues individually or just him as a singular figure, underwater. Like, again, I never thought I would live to see in my lifetime a country founded on white supremacy look at immigration as a net positive. Which, thanks to the ice raids and everything, they did that. So, like, I feel like the Overton window, if it actually had a chance to, be open and allow the people to fucking breathe, to, kind of abuse the metaphor a little bit, would be further left. Because right-wing policies fucking suck, and they know that. So they have to cheat and rig the system any way they can. And again, this is just speaking more pragmatically with the system we have. You guys know my actual beliefs as a far leftist. But yeah, No, this is why. When you get progressives on the ticket, and now I worry for Tallarico actually, because all this discourse about Jasmine Crockett and voter suppression, which I'm not saying don't have that discourse, but I feel like it's being had in a way where it almost blames Tallarico for the suppression. And I feel like that could be a poison pill that really tries to kill his candidacy against the Republican. Because I don't know if it's going to be Cornyn or Paxton, because they're having a runoff in May. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, again, it just everything is just so convoluted and broken, but I mean that's where we are. I do think, yeah, if voting is all you really feel capable of doing, of course, because Republicans are never going to serve your interest, whereas the progressive may serve some of your interests, and whatever you disagree with them on, that's another vein for you to take activism wise, or trying to push them or whatever. So yeah, yeah, always go with the Democrats, especially when they're actually progressive. Now, if he was somebody, I will say this: if he was somebody like a Gavin Newsom, then I would have more of an inner debate with myself of should you even vote. Because I really do look at Newsom as like Republican light. I don't see him as a genuine progressive. But again, if Ashton is saying, excuse me, that Tallarico is even more progressive than Crockett, of
Yeah,
course you
dude.
vote for that candidate.
So Super Blue said in chat that he had never heard of him before this primary. So I have, and it's because he was on TikTok. He is a TikToker. This motherfucker, as a member of the Texas House of Representatives, was posting TikToks trying to be as transparent as possible about what goes on behind closed doors in the Texas Congress. He was being transparent in a world where he was basically like frowned upon and shunned for doing it. He was trying to let people know, like, here's what goes on, here's what's actually going on, here's how we can fight it. Like, he is a badass. And like, something else that I love about him too is that you can tell that he is a very strongly Christian guy, but he has said multiple times in interviews and in public spaces in general that he is a staunch believer in the separation of church and state. And God, we need more politicians that'll do that, man. We need politicians that believe in the separation of church and state, because that shit is leaving at an alarming rate, at a
Yes.
disgusting rate, to the point that we've literally got like Christian prayers happening in the fucking White House with Trump and his goons all looking like a bunch of morons praying, talking about the Holy Land and this fucking uh, Armageddon shit in Iran. Like, it is ghoulish. It is disgusting. And meanwhile,
Yeah.
Tallarico is openly advocating for more separation of church and state, despite the fact that he is very Christian.
And look, guys, elections to me are only step fucking one. Like I am just given my interest in what I'm reading. I want a quote unquote blue wave that's actually progressive because I want trials for these fucking people. I don't want this to be the Obama era of we don't look back, we look forward. No. No. These are pedophilic, bloodthirsty fucking billionaires, and they're little toadies that they pay and do the fucking supervax for so that they have them in their pocket. No, I really at this point, if the whole system collapses, I, I'm gonna be having my fucking pom poms out. We are in a grotesque fucking place,
Yeah,
and anything you can do to ameliorate that
I don't know what
should
that
be
word
done.
means.
Well, to lessen it, to make it better. So yeah, to make it better, you should do that. So yeah. Anyway, let's move on to the next question. Um, let's see. Question. What would it be? Question 4. All right, the last question. Which pill would you take? The red pill. Restart your life at 6 years old, or 6 years of age with all the knowledge you have now. The blue pill would be 10 million in cash. Give me the fucking 10 million. I don't want to relive my childhood again. I don't. Like, it was bad.
Yeah,
I don't have the
this
bandwidth
this
for
is
it.
basically like sort of the litmus test here is, was your childhood tolerable enough to go back and relive?
Well, because here's the thing
Because that's
too.
obviously the
Yeah,
superior option if your childhood wasn't shit.
yeah. Because here's the thing too. Yeah, I have the knowledge, but I'm still disabled, and I still feel like my agency is kind of I don't want to use another higher level word, so I'm just going to say limited. To even use that knowledge in any meaningful way. Like, okay, I know that my family has X crisis. What, I'm just going to be a bystander to it knowing that it's coming? If anything, that's going to cause me more sleepless nights than what I already had living through it the first time. So yeah, give me the 10 million, because at least with the knowledge I have now about world affairs and everything, I would try and do some good with that fucking money and take care of my family in the process. So yeah, blue pill for me all the way. What about you though?
100% red pill. Take me back. Let me try and do things differently, do things better. Uh, I would be worth a hell of a lot more than $10 million right now if I could go back and reshape my life from 6 years old with the knowledge I have now for sure. And the world, honestly, we wouldn't be talking about this shit at all right now because the world wouldn't be the shit show that it is right now. Because I would, if I'm starting at six, yeah, I mean, sure, give me 15 years to accumulate enough wealth and power to be able to actually, have a sway in world politics, and another 5 to 10 to fix shit, and we're good.
There you go. All right, high spots and low shots. Low shot for me, Lindsey Graham. Obviously, he's not the only one to blame for this, and I do feel like all roads lead to Rome, as they say. We would have gotten here regardless, but the idea that the Wall Street Journal and other outlets have picked up a story that you more or less committed treason, going to a foreign leader and being like, hey, this is how you manipulate our president to get what you want. Fuck you until the end of time. And by the way, and I don't think Lindsey Graham has children, but he should just go and fight that fucking war then. Because by the way, too, when we're talking about troops on the ground, Netanyahu's kid, last I heard, was in fucking Miami. Barron is somewhere. He may also be in Florida. Netanyahu, I've heard rumors that he's in Berlin while Tel Aviv's getting bombed, which is the capital of Israel. They vote for war, they thirst for war, but they don't have the fucking spine to actually see it through because they know. They know it's fucking hellish. They know what it actually is, but they look at us and our families and our loved ones as lesser, and they're like, oh, you go do it. Fuck you, Lindsey Graham. Fuck this whole fucking regime. He's my low shot, and honestly, I hope I live to see that dude fucking croaks. Him and the rest of these fucking people. So yeah, easy low shot for me, Lindsey Graham. Who's your low shot?
Um, this might be unfair, but my low shot's Kid Rock.
Okay.
Did you see this fucking ad that he and RFK put out?
I've heard about it. I feel like that was a bit of older news beyond this week.
Is it older?
But
Okay, I'll change my low shot then if it's too old. Low shot. I guess I will just make this wrestling related then, just to keep it as easy as possible and make it Dominic Mysterio for getting cursed and losing his IC title.
yeah, there you go. I was gonna do a high spot as well. Yeah, because this whole cold plunge exercise thing, I just looked. I mean, New York Post had a video about it 2 weeks ago, so I did just want to make sure I didn't take something away from you unfairly. But yeah, that is a bit older. So I'm glad you went with wrestling there. With Dominic Mysterio, high spot for me, keeping it wrestling. Tatum Paxley won the Women's North American Championship. Hopefully, it's a better reign than the NXT Women's World Title. Very happy for her. I adore Tatum. She's worked her fucking ass off. And Izzy was a great heel champion too, and they did a great program together. So props to them both, but particularly Tatum because she won the title. Who's your high spot?
High spot is gonna be. That's a good question, actually. Who is my high spot? Um, I think. God, this is genuinely not easy for me. I don't want to just go with Penta because I don't like to repeat my high
Yeah.
spot with my low shot. You know what? I am gonna go with Trick Williams because he got a huge response on SmackDown this week. And even though he did get RKO'd, that's also kind of like a badge of honor in some ways. So yeah, Trick will be my high
Yeah.
spot.
All right. All right. Well, guys, that was a better episode. I don't feel as fatigued as last week. So, way to go, everyone. We
Good
did
job,
it.
bud.
Uh, leave a like as you file out. Subscribe to the bell icon for notifications so you miss any of that TWitWoW goodness. Check out everything we're involved in the description box. Follow us on Blue Sky and Twitch because we are the best podcast on the internet today. And we'll see you guys again. I mean, I have to talk with Ashton about when my family day is, like when I get together with my family to spend time with them, because my brother-in-law's off work. Because I don't know if we'll even have Monte Gold this week. We might. Stardom, we might. That would be Thursday at 7. But then if you're really just here for this, for weekly recap, that is every Saturday at 10:30. Join us for that then. Have a great rest of your weekend, guys. Take care of yourselves, your mental health. I know I'm trying to. Be good to yourselves and each other. Tune in and peace out.